Today we're going to be talking about knowing your vehicle, and I want to go ahead and welcome you in. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in. So the first thing you need to know, you have a title. A title shows ownership of your vehicle. For new cars from any state, always keep your title hidden in a safe place. It should be, no pun intended, in a safe, at home, put up, preferably in a fireproof, weatherproof, drown-proof steel case. And that should be tucked away. You should never drive with your title in the vehicle, because if your vehicle's stolen, the thieves could forge your signature and then it becomes legally theirs through the Secretary of State. Let's talk about registration. Your registration from any state during the same time frame as your title arrives, you will have a vehicle registration. So this is information I'm reading off. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this and then help you guys understand. If you have questions, go ahead and put it in. So your registration, you're required to always have your registration and in your vehicle. If you're driving, you want to show proof that you actually own the vehicle. Let's talk about driving insurance. This is not going to be an in-depth discussion. This is basic information. I am not an insurance agent, but I know basic information. And if you want me to do a tutorial on insurance, let me know and I can have some insurance agents come on. So in the state requires, some states require insurance. You must have proof of insurance. It must be a document in your vehicle at all times to show that if you have an accident, you have the financial means. Let's pretend I'm going through Dunkin' Donuts. I'm going through McDonald's. My foot slips off the brake. I hit the building, heaven forbid. I need to have a minimum coverage of perhaps $300,000 to protect myself if I lose control and hit a building. There have been several instances where young drivers and elderly drivers have accidentally hit the gas, thinking it's the brake, and have went through Tim Hortons, have went through Tropical Smoothie. So we want to be mindful and be careful. Let's talk about driving protocol. Driving protocol, make sure your path of travel is clear. If you're driving through a neighborhood, you always got to be aware. Little kids are playing. It's a beautiful Saturday. I just finished a 2-hour driving session, so I decided to come and talk to you guys live. One of my students, her dad works for one of the big 3 manufacturers. He builds race cars. He restores them. I have a 1968 Gen 1 Camaro. It's a small tire car, runs about 9 flat. I will be getting ready to go to the drag strip next summer. So we're gonna make it a 440. I'm looking for a stroker crank. It's got aluminum rods. I have a 2-speed power glide with the 196 first gear. Those of you who are technical, I'm looking for a turbo 400 transmission. And I believe that turbo 400 transmission has a 2.48 first gear to get the car moving fast. I do have a 2-speed transmission, and for lighter cars, my car is about 2,855 pounds. A 2-speed may be quicker, but a 3-speed may be faster. So it depends on your combination. So I'm looking for a 400 turbo transmission, built, heavy-duty clutches, reverse drum, and then a trans brake. So I'll talk more about that transmission when it becomes time. A lot of you are interested in that. But also, you want to check your vehicle's windows, lights, to make sure your headlights, tail lights work. Because when you're out driving, you're excited. You might be in a well-lit area going into a gas station. You've seen cars pull out. They don't have any lights on. You're like, oh my God, I almost hit them. Because people forget. They go in to get gas. They turn off everything, and under the big awning, there are lights. And then when you pull out into the dark, and you don't have your headlights on or taillights on, and that's how accidents happen. So don't be that kid or adult who forgets to turn on their lights. Accidents do happen. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in. We're talking about driving protocol. I'm reading from the actual manual that I have. Classes in session. I'm a state certified driving instructor. I teach teens and adults. Make sure your vehicle is parked and make sure your doors are closed. You want to roll up your windows, lock your doors, turn off everything, because you would hate to come out in the morning and your car doesn't start because you left your light on, you left your radio on. That's happened to me a couple times, waiting for clients. I let the radio run and then the car would not start. So then I could not finish the driving lesson. So learn from my mistakes. Let's talk about some vehicle controls. This is a general discussion. The malfunctioning level. This level indicates the left door steering column, and it includes turn signals, headlights. The steering wheel. How do you turn the steering wheel? Let's make it really simple. The steering wheel is round, unless we're driving a Tesla Plaid. They have a yoke, and that's like an aircraft steering mechanism. Most steering wheels in the United States, and I am coming from the United States. I know some of you listen from the UK, Australia, Africa, UAE. First, thank you. I'm blessed. For this general purposes, our steering wheel is on the left. We drive on the right side of the road. If I was in the UK, Australia, some parts of Asia, the steering wheel will be on the right, and then we drive on the left. It's the same principle. I do know how to drive a manual, and if this car did have a manual, it would have 3 pedals. We would have a clutch to the left, we would have the brake in the middle, and the gas pedal. I said gas pass. The gas pedal to the right. And you want to pivot. This is my right hand. You want to pivot your foot between the gas and brake. If we have a clutch, that would have more complexity. Here, I have to tell you a story. I told you I was driving my client this morning. Her dad works for one of the automotive manufacturers. He's got a bunch of classic cars. He found a 68 Camaro. It sank behind a guy's garage. He got the car for $700. He rebuilt the whole car. It was a manual. It had a 327 small block. And if you know about cars, 327s are very rare. And it was a manual car. So he pulled the car out because it sank behind the garage. It was down about 5 feet in the ground. So he must have got a hitch and a tow strap. And you should always have a tow strap in your car. You can go to Harbor Freight. You can go to any automotive store. I would pay about $35 to $40. Get a tow strap with a weight of about 40,000 pounds so you can hook it on the bumper and pull your car out. We did go in the ditch one time when I was teaching students how to drive. It was in the wintertime. They were hugging the right edge of the road. Please don't hug the right side of the road. You're going to put your car into the ditch and endanger all of us. So the young man was driving in the wintertime. We were in a Honda, which was fine. He kept hugging the right because beginning drivers are tense. They squeeze the wheel. Here's a tip. Don't squeeze the wheel. Stay relaxed. Please let me know where you're from. So it's really important that you understand that you want to be successful and you want to continue. I'm at driver's education right now. We're talking about driving. We're talking about getting better. And then we can go to practice later on. But for right now, don't hug the right. We kept hugging the right, kept hugging the right. And then the kid went into the ditch. I tried to turn the wheel. The front passenger side wheel caught the curb of the road. It was a soft shoulder. The car spun to the left. I tried to hold the wheel, but he overcorrected. We went down into the ditch. We almost rolled the car 3 times, but luckily we were able to straighten the car and kind of go down at an angle. So we all were very shaken up. The kids were crying a little bit, very nervous, very shaken up. We were alive. But then I said, we're in the middle of nowhere. How will we get out? Luckily, a guy in a Jeep, thank you, he had a tow rope. He hooked this up and pulled us out. So learn from my lesson, have a tow rope if you are in a situation where you are finding yourself in a ditch. Let's continue. Hazard switches, the buttons used for warning to let people know you're disabled, your car is broken down. The shift selector, P is for park. I want to talk about this. P is for park. R is for reverse. D is for drive. Okay, neutral, the motor and transmission are disconnected. There's a switch in the transmission. If you're in neutral, the motor will turn by itself. The transmission will not be connected. When I drag race, I have a trans brake button. And with that button, it goes into the valve body. I'm not trying to get too technical. I hold the button down. The car goes in between reverse and first gear. I'm able to lock the transmission. I put my foot down all the way on the gas. I leave at about 6,100, between 58 and 6,100 RPMs. The car leaves the line. I'm pulling about a 124, 127, 60 foot. And then I shift about 9,300. I am running a small block. But then because I have a 2-speed, the car, when I go from that first to second gear, it falls back to about 8,200. So that's why I need the 3-speed. So I'm looking for that Turbo 400. I can use a manual valve body and a dump valve to lower some of the RPM. So when I have that gear ratio, because I have a 488, hey, how are you? I have a 488 gear ratio. It's a Richmond Pro gear, because Pro gears, you have that shock impact. That shock impact when you're launching your car at the drag strip. You're probably saying, what does it have to do with driving? It has everything to do with driving, because it's about vehicle control and matching the gear ratio. So the car has a 488. Hey, how are you doing? How are things going in Iran? Hopefully things are going good. Do you drive on the left? Do you drive on the right? Do you drive a manual? Please type it in. We're talking about gear ratios right now, transmissions, launching the car forward. So typically I have that glide in there, and it's got a 176 first gear, but I moved to a 190, and I don't think that 190 is doing a good job. So I really need a 158 gear set, and that could really launch the car. So those gear sets cost $1,500, $1,800, $2,100. And if you are in racing or you understand gear ratios, the same thing in the car, you're going to have a 355 gear in the rear end. You're going to have a lower speed ratio in your transmission. So you want your car to develop torque. Torque is what moves you out. Okay, so we're learning some technical things right now. Trunk release. A lot of kids, and I'm talking about trunk release right now, a lot of kids want to hide. This is the trunk release. A lot of kids want to hide in the trunk. So you want to make sure there's actually a handle. If a kid is trapped in the trunk, there's a handle that can be pulled, because we want to make sure kids do hide in trunks. Hey, I'm going to move forward and talk about the instrument panel. This is actually the instrument panel. You should see this right now. You got to know your whole dashboard. You got to know what your speedometer is, your tachometer. When I race, I launch it about 48 to 5,200, and then I shift about 8,900, because it's a small block and my range is there. So I want to shift in the range of the motor. If you had a manual, if you were driving a semi truck, they are low torque monsters. So you want to be able to shift your gear first, second, third, fourth. My car is set up for a manual transmission, but I don't have a manual right now. It's set up, I have a 2-speed transmission. I have a 3-speed turbo 350 Cohen prep lightweight gears. So I need that 400 turbo for that 248 first gear to give me more torque to get me off the line. The same thing in your car. If you have a truck, you're going to have a really low gear in the back of the rear end, and you're going to have, like the Fords, they have a 10-speed transmission, right? I used to have a SRTG. It had an 8-speed transmission. So in the wintertime, I put it in snow mode, it would start in second gear. So I don't spin. A lot of you, when you drive in the wintertime, your transmission will be in second or third gear. So I'm just giving you some good information to help you guys understand. So you have your tachometer that tells you the RPMs of the motor. So I'm shifting about 88, 8,900. That's a lot for a small block, but I have aluminum rods. Your motors are not built like that. They're more for a passenger. So you got to know about that. Next, I'm going to talk about steering wheel basics. Okay, steering wheel basics. You got to know about the basics. We have our hands at 9 and 3, 10 and 2, 7 and 5. The National Highway Safety Transportation says 7 and 5 is the best way to hold a steering wheel. How do you turn the steering wheel? Are you taught to have it at 9 and 3? Are you taught to have it at 7 and 5? Are you taught 10 and 2? In the United States, the National Highway Safety Transportation says that 7 and 5 is the safest way to hold a steering wheel for parallel parking, for hand-over-hand right turns, hand-over-hand left turns. There's more than one way to hold a steering wheel. You as a beginner need to find a comfortable way. You're going to learn from me. You're going to learn from your mom. You're going to learn from your dad how to turn the steering wheel. There is no one best way to hold the steering wheel. You have to find a method that works for you. So you need to be looking at my videos. You need to be watching. A lot of beginners hook their thumb. And if you hook your thumb, you're going to break your thumb. Don't do crisscross. Have your hands spread out from one another. Thank you for the thumbs up. Let's continue to talk about basic maneuvers. We're talking about the steering wheel. And in the United States, we primarily turn hand over hand. In the UK, and I'm not in the UK, no shade. I love you UK instructors and UK people from the UK, Australia, the Middle East, Africa. Everyone learns differently. So we don't need to fight over how to hold a steering wheel. We want to educate all people. And I want to educate you so you learn. If you have questions, go ahead and put those in. Next, I'm going to talk about traffic lights. Okay? A lot of beginners panic when they see traffic lights. Green means proceed with caution. You should be looking left and right. Always look. Don't assume because you have a green, there's a truck coming from the left. There's an old lady coming from the right. There's some guy in his Mustang flying. There's some guy in his Chevelle going fast. You have to look. Yellow means proceed with caution. If you can stop in 3 seconds, 1001, 1002, 1003, you stop in 3 seconds. It's really important that you understand this. Red, if you're making a right turn on red, you have to stop. A lot of people have questions. Can I turn right on red? You have to stop first. You have to stop. You got to look left. You got to look right. You have to look left. If clear, then you proceed with caution. Who am I? I'm a state certified driving instructor. I teach teens and adults. I'm here to help you. We were talking about transmission ratios. I'm looking for a Turbo 400. I believe it has a 248 first gear. I have a 2-speed Power Glide that has a 176 for first gear, is specially designed for racing. Gear ratios are what keep your car moving. A semi-truck has different gear ratios than a car. A smaller MG has different gear ratios than a Ford Lightning. The Fords have a 10-speed transmission. I used to have a SRT Jeep. It had an 8-speed transmission. So you need to know the ratios of your car so you can be safe out there. We're talking about traffic lights. This is the key, and you got to be aware and understand this. And if you can stop in 3 seconds, you should be able to do what? Stop safely without slamming the brakes. On your road test, if you run through a light, that could be grounds for automatic failure. Here's another pro tip. Your driving instructor will never put you into a dangerous situation. Listen to what I'm saying. Parents, if you're listening, adults, if you're listening, people have anxiety, post-COVID. Your instructor cares. I'm an instructor who cares. I'm taking the time to go through this information to help you. If you have questions, put those in. So let's continue. And this is just a general discussion. We're going to talk about signs right now. I'm going to go through this. And if you want to put it in, by all means, this sign, you should be able to tell me what this sign means. This is a prohibitory sign. Type in what this sign means. You should be able to tell me what this sign means. This sign means no left turn. This is a prohibitory sign. The next sign, this is a guide sign. Tell me what this sign is. Okay, type it in right now. This sign is a guide sign. It is blue and white. You need to be able to tell me what this is. Guide sign, blue and white. This means hospital. It may vary. Here in the United States, blue background, white letters. How do your hospital signs look? How do your guide signs look? Please tell me, right? So let's continue. Let's talk about this sign right here, right now. This sign, this is a regulatory sign. This means yield. Okay, you have to yield. You want to wait for the intersection to be clear. You must know what this is. Next, another regulatory sign. You need to tell me what this is. I'm going through the lesson right now. This is a regulatory sign, red background, white letters. You need to tell me what this means. This sign is a regulatory sign. It tells you to stop. STOP. S-T-O-P. Minimum 3 seconds. You must stop for 3 seconds. You look, you check traffic. Next sign. This sign, it means school zone, not school zone crossing. A lot of you will confuse this. You need to tell me what this is. You should be able to see it. Yellow background, black images, 2 people, school zone, reduced speed. I had a client come on yesterday. They failed their test because they were going too fast in the school zone. Slow down. The minimum speed is 25. In some cases, it's 15. School zones are radar enforced. If you're going over a speed limit and they have cameras, you will get a ticket. This is a warning sign. You need to be telling me what this is. I have people flying in this parking lot. Slow down. This is a warning sign. This is telling us a stop sign ahead. You should be able to tell me what this sign is. You should be giving this a thumb up, and you should be liking this because I'm giving you a real lesson right now, and I'm bringing you value. This is your warning sign, stop sign ahead. Let's continue. Here is a regulatory sign. This means do not enter. You are going the wrong way. This is in a downtown area. This is on an off-ramp going onto the expressway. You as a beginning driver, if you see this and you're going toward it, you're going the wrong way. Slow down, get out of here. You need to know what this sign means. This is a basic situation of signs. I'm going to go over a few more signs. This will help you. This is your roundabout. Warning sign. You'll see this all across the country, in the UK, in the United States, in Africa, Australia, UAE, everywhere. You need to yield to traffic already in the area. You need to know what this is. Yield, slow down to traffic already in the area. I'm just highlighting some of the things you need to know. If you have questions, you put those in. We're talking about pavement markings. This is a solid double yellow where my finger is. It is in black and white. You cannot pass. If you see this, you need to stay in your lane and you cannot cross the line. I'm giving you a basic lesson today. Please drop a like, a thumbs up. It really helps push out this video. I'm giving you a mini lesson today. You need to know what this is. Let's continue. I'm going to be talking about some other information. And this is in my teaching binder, a manual. This is a image of a roundabout. If you're going straight through, you do not need a blinker. If there's traffic in the roundabout, you need to yield to the traffic in the roundabout. If you're going to the right, you yield. You turn on your right blinker, you go in and go to the right. If you're going to the left, you go in. You turn on your left turn signal and you go in and around. A lot of people get confused on those roundabouts. There's nothing to be confused about. I can show you real information to help you understand what's going on. I'm giving you some solid information to help you understand. I want to talk about point system violations. Okay, every area is different. Some locations have point system violations. I'm going to go over some of these point violations. If you have questions, put it in. 6-point violations: manslaughter, negligent homicide, failure to stop at the scene of an accident. 6 points. Next, 4-point violation: drag racing, stop speeding, slow down. Next, driving 16 over the limit. 4 points. 3-point violations: careless driving, disobey a traffic signal, you blow a stop sign, you blow a yield sign, you run through a light. That is 3 points. 2-point violation: 6 to 10 over the limit. If you have 6 or more points, separate violations, or 12 or more within a 2-year period, they're going to take your license. I'll say it again. If you have 6 or more points or 12 separate violations within a 2-year period, you're going to lose your license. I'm always trying to tell you this. I hope you guys are listening to this. I really do. I'm trying to tell you that you need to have ownership in your driving. Parents, older adults, talk to your son or daughter about the responsibility of driving. Driving is a privilege, not a right. Your license can be taken away. If the driver is pulled over by the officer, you should do the following. 1, find a safe place. 2, pull over and park, turn off your ignition. 3, roll down your driver's side window and turn on the interior lights. Make the officer feel comfortable. 4, put your hands on the steering wheel and wait for the officer to approach the vehicle. Next, 5, when the police officer asks for the registration proof of insurance, respectfully give them these items. Next, 6, if the officer issues a citation, the driver should accept peacefully. If they feel wrongfully issued, challenge it in court. Don't scream at the officer. What are you doing? I didn't do anything. You're making your life harder. Don't do that. Next, 7, once the officer has returned to your vehicle, they are finished the traffic stop, then slowly drive away. I just gave you the formula to deal when you are pulled over. If you don't follow these rules, you're going to be even in more trouble. What don't you understand? I'm trying to help you right now. I just highlighted some of the major things to help you understand about driving. I'm going to talk about safe driving tips. Please listen. Here are some safety tips to help you on the road. Number 1, maintain your vehicle. Check your mirror, check your lights, tires, brakes, windshield wipers. Make sure they're working properly. Make sure your gas tank is full of fuel. Many of you are under 25 years old. I understand money's tight. It takes about $40 to fill up the car. You're putting $10 in. Real talk. I get it. You're getting about 1/4 of a tank. That's just enough to get you to school, get you home, get you to your job, maybe 2 days. Next, focus completely on driving. Adjust your mirrors. I'm in the car. I'm adjusting my mirrors right now. Got my center mirror, my side mirrors adjusted. When you're driving, you should look straight ahead. You have to look straight ahead. I need you to look straight ahead. Check your side mirror to the driver's side. Check your driver's side to the passenger side. Frame the rear window. You see me looking, steering my mirrors, getting everything set. So now my mirrors are properly adjusted. Next, do not drive if you feel tired. I understand. Don't drive if you feel tired. You want to rest. If you feel tired, signal, pull over, stop, get some rest. Next, always lock your vehicle. Even if you are inside the car, keep your valuables out of sight. Your cell phone, your book bag, your headphones, put those up, tuck them away. Hey, if I'm bringing you value, give a thumbs up. It's really important. I'm reading safety tips right now. This is from my driver's education binder, and I need to know where you're located. Where are you from? Next, prepare for roadside emergencies. Pull off to the road to the shoulder. Rest at a parking lot. Call the insurance company if you have a roadside emergency. Next, prepare for bad weather. Check the weather. Avoid driving on icy roads. Flooding, rain. If you cannot pull off to the road, turn on your headlights and drive slower. Increase your following distance. A lot of beginners have a difficult time with speed control. Next, pack a safety kit. I know you're young, nothing's gonna happen. You can do 10 push-ups, no one cares. Pack a safety kit, okay? These items in the car prepare for roadside emergencies: flashlight, first aid kit, a power snack, jumper cables. Remember I told you, we were driving, had a kid go off into the ditch. We did not have a tow rope, went into the ditch 20 feet down. We were all nervous. The kids were crying. I was kind of shaken up. I'm like, whoa, our Savior came. This guy had a 4-wheel truck. He had a tow hook, a winch. He pulled us out. He saved us. Learn from my experience. Be prepared if your car goes off the road. Real talk. Okay, have a blanket, have a shovel, a snack. Next, don't respond to road rage. You see a lot of people out here driving crazy. Family, niece, nephew, They don't care about you. You're trying to drive, staying at the speed limit. They're tailgating you. They're cutting you off. I have some news. You're doing the legal thing. If people are road raging, don't take them back to your house. Drive at the normal speed. You're doing everything right. Don't let someone who's out of control make you out of control. Road rage can risk people's safety on the road. If another driver is angry or aggressive, who is yelling or honking the horn or driving too close, stay calm. Pull over, change lanes, slow down, exit. Let them pass. Next, pull into a safe place if police signal you to stop. There are a lot of fake police. I've seen a lot on the videos. There are a lot of fake police. If you're not sure, you have a right to go to the police station. If you're not sure someone is flashing, looks like police lights, if you're not sure, tell them, hey, I'm going to the police station. I don't think you're real. Again, be careful on this. Turn off your engine, pull down your window, stay in your car unless the officer asks you to step out. Put your hands on the dashboard where the officer can see them. You may be asked to show your driver's license, vehicle registration, proof of insurance. This is real talk. If you do not have to answer the officer's questions or consent to a search. Real talk. I'm not a legal channel, but I try to give you information. You don't have to answer officers, hey, where have you been? Where are you headed? Respectfully, officer, I do not have to answer those questions. Why are you pulling me over? You're going to be nervous. Your heart's going to be pounding. Your hand's going to be shaking, but you have a right to protect your rights. Real talk. Next, buying a car. Buying a car requires a lot of research. You got to do your planning. You got to do research. If you're buying a car for the first time, it can be very helpful to have a friend go with you or a mentor to help you figure out the right price. Are you paying too much? Are you paying too little? You can even apply for a loan on the bank or the credit union, but you'll have to pay interest. So you want to do what is best for you. A lot of people are leasing vehicles, but you have to be over 21, in some cases 25. So if you have a good relationship with your mom and dad, they may say, okay, honey, we don't want to give you a junky car. It's going to break down. We're going to lease a vehicle, but you got to be careful about mileage. Okay, you don't want to go over 10,000 or 12,000 or 15,000 miles. We've got caught up like that a few times buying a driver's ed vehicle. We went over mileage. You have to pay more money. It is very expensive. So you got to be really careful about you leasing vehicles. Okay, you got to find out what works best for you. You should verify the car's title is clear. Some people have fake titles. Maybe the car was in an accident. Maybe it was a salvage title. Example, I was looking at a 2014 blue convertible Mustang. It has a supercharger, Edelbrock Stage 2 supercharger, put down about 700 horsepower. My neighbor had it. It has a manual. I drove it, incredible, powerful. But one thing, it had a salvage title. I went to the credit union. They do not accept salvage titles. What does this mean? The car was totaled in an accident. The insurance company paid it off. A tow yard bought the car. People can buy cars, pull out the frame if it's bent, then they repair them. So my credit union said, no, we're not going to give you the $12,400 for the car. I told my neighbor, I'm sorry, I can't buy it. I was really upset. It was a blue convertible Coyote prepped Mustang with the Edelbrock Stage 2 supercharger, manual heavy-duty clutch, probably running low 10s. But my credit union said no. So I learned from that, you've got to do your research. Is the title clean? Is it all paid for? Don't be scared to ask. If you're not sure, bring your mom with you, bring your dad with you, bring your uncle who knows about cars, okay? Next, you should get your car's title notarized, an official signature. Make sure you get the receipt from the owner, because some people will lie and say, you didn't pay for that car. I remember on social media, there was a gentleman who had a Mercedes. A dealership wanted to buy it, but they were very late transferring the title. And this is a trick some dealerships do. I'm not saying all dealerships. I don't want to get hate mail. But you as a consumer need to be protected, because car dealers are looking for used cars. They may give you $14,000, but they flip it and sell it for $18,000 or $19,000 or $21,000. I had an SRT Jeep. It had a built 426 Hemi. It was a 2014. I sold it. I think I got around $16,400. I had some pictures of them buffing it out, detailing it out, cleaning it. Then they flipped it and sold it for $26,500. I was not mad. I got my fair value. But car dealerships are there to what? Make money. They detailed my car. They did an oil change, cleaned up the interior, made it look nice and crispy and clean. That's what dealerships will do. So you need to understand the game. I have some videos on that. So if you want to see my actual truck and how they cleaned it and detailed it, I do have that. You just need to let me know. Next, it is important to have a mechanic. If you have a friend who knows about cars, who loves cars, you need to take them. Hey, John, can you come with me? I found this car on Facebook Marketplace. I found this car on this social website, and I need you to help me. I'm not sure about it. Talk to a friend. You always need a friend who loves cars. You always need a friend who knows how to cut grass. You always need a friend who knows how to do stuff around the house. Don't be scared to ask for help. Okay? It is important to have a mechanic look at the vehicle you are planning to buy. You should also want to go for a test drive. Don't drive the car at night. Prior to me getting my 2014 SRT Jeep, I'm sharing a true story, I bought a 2012 SRT. It had the wrong size tires on there. The SRT Jeep has a tire size of 295/20, and this car had 275/20s. And they have Pirellis. If you know about Pirellis, they're a very expensive tire, upwards of $7,000 to $1,000 a piece. I went for a test drive, and I'm not blaming the dealership. I'm sharing my story. So I went over there, went for a test drive, got it on the expressway. It drove nice. There were some electrical issues, but I bought the car, signed for it at night. My mistake. The tires were cracked, dry rotted. Okay, so don't buy a car at night. Have someone come with you. I had my client come and follow me. They drove the SRT back to the office. What an experience, but learn from me. The car was from Montreal. I'm in the United States, so the numbers had to be switched over, and the person did not delete their private information. Any information, if you sync your phone to the car, that information is in there. I had the previous buyer's information. They were going about 162 in the truck. I did not go 162. Prior to that, I was looking at a 2018 or 2019 Trackhawk. They wanted $85,000. I was not going to trade my truck in because I was negative. I bought a truck I really couldn't afford. I'm sharing a story with you. I bought my SRT Jeep. I was paying over $1,000 a month. People, who pays $1,000 a month? Not a lot of people, right? I had the money, but it was a struggle. I had to struggle to get that car payment. I'm telling you the truth. So we found this 2018 Trackhawk. The front spoiler was cracked. They had to redo the whole bumper. They were buffing out all of the scratches. We went over to look at this car. This person was going at 168. We checked the computer and we looked, we pushed the button. It has some memory. The person was driving 168. I had to think for myself, do I really want to drive a vehicle that someone has dogged out? And in those type of vehicles, the rotors are $600 to $700. I know because I went to AutoZone. My front rotors were terrible. So I had to buy new rotors, $500 each, new tires all the way around because I was selling my truck. So I'm taking you through this journey. I almost traded my SRT Jeep for a Trackhawk, but I would have been paying $1,200, $1,300 a month. Really a little too much for my financial situation. I could have afforded it, but I didn't do it. So you're learning from my story. Don't buy a vehicle that you really can't afford. I had really good credit, making money every month, but it wasn't really the vehicle for me. It was hard for me to step away from that, but I did. I almost signed the paperwork. I would have had SRT, traded that in, would have had a Trackhawk. And if you know about Trackhawks, give us a thumb up. So I had to learn signing up for car insurance. 48 states have laws that require drivers to have insurance. We have 50 states. 48 states require insurance to cover damages or injuries. Insurance requires are different in each state, but most insurance requires drivers to have at least liability coverage. And having an SRT Jeep, having a Trackhawk, having a Scat Pack, having a Hellcat, these vehicles are high-performance vehicles. They're stolen very frequently. They are rocket ships, but they're stolen quite frequently. So you don't want to get a vehicle like that unless you understand, if I buy this vehicle, it could be stolen. If I buy this vehicle, you're going to get attention that you normally don't get because you're driving a high-performance vehicle. People are going to be challenging you to race, challenging you to do burnouts. And if you're not strong enough, you're going to be doing burnouts. You're going to be doing 80, 90, and 100 on these major thoroughfares, and you're going to end up crashing. Okay, we all seen these streetcar takeovers. I am against that type of aggressive driving. If you want to learn how to drive, go to a driving school, go to an enclosed course, go to a drag strip where you sign a waiver releasing liability. I have to share this with you. A couple of weeks ago, a Mustang was driving on a test track. Kindergarten and elementary students were there. The driver lost control and crashed. Kids were injured. Ford was not sued because they signed a waiver releasing liability. I'm here to tell you it's true. Next, it's important to keep proof of insurance in your car to show in case you get into an accident. If you are driving a friend's car, make sure you have insurance. Visit the DMV website in your state to learn more about specific coverage. I hope you enjoyed this. Give this a thumbs up. Share with your friends. Bye.